This is the most beautiful flower girl I've ever seen. There was a time when I used to see her every morning on my way to work. She was a flower seller, the type who would carry around a basket of flowers and a vase and walk up to people on the street and ask them if they wanted to buy some flowers. I always admired her beauty from afar, but I never worked up the courage to talk to her. One day I saw her at a bus stop, and I finally worked up the courage to walk up to her and say hello. I asked her where she was from, and she told me she was from Japan. I told her that I had always admired her beauty, and she blushed and looked down at her feet. I asked her if she could please be my girlfriend, and she said yes. We started dating, and it was amazing. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever known, though there was a problem. She was a bit of a crybaby. Every time we went out, she would get scared of everything. If a car backfired, she would cry. If a dog barked at her, she would cry. If it rained, she would cry, and it got annoying. One day I was walking down the street and saw her crying, so I walked up to her and asked what was wrong. She told me that she was just having a bad day. I tried to cheer her up, but nothing seemed to work. So I asked her if she wanted to go home. She nodded and took my hand. When we got home, I tried to make her feel better by cooking her dinner, and then we watched a movie, but she just kept crying during the movie. I couldn't take it anymore. So I asked her to go to the bathroom, and then I called her parents. I told them that their daughter was a crybaby, and that I couldn't take care of her anymore. I was so angry that I hung up on them and went back to watching TV. A few minutes later, I heard some commotion outside, and I went to check it out. I saw a group of men with baseball bats surrounding my car. They were yelling and screaming, and one of them was holding a sign that said, "You are not welcome here." I was scared, but I didn't know what to do. Then I heard a familiar voice. It was the flower girl. She was standing next to the men and she was crying. I rolled down my window and asked what was going on. She told me that her name wasn't actually Japan and that she wasn't from Japan either. She was from another planet, and the men with the bats were her friends. Then they were trying to protect her because they knew that I was going to hurt her. I was confused and scared. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat there in silence. Then Japan reached out and touched my arm. She told me that she was sorry for being a crybaby and that she didn't want to go back to her planet. She wanted to stay with me. I was so relieved to hear this, because I didn't want her to go back to her planet either. We hugged goodbye to the men with the bats, then we drove off. As we were driving, I felt something strange. It was like a premonition. I felt like something bad was going to happen. My skin started tingling and I could feel my hair standing on end. I could also feel Japan's body trembling beside me. I turned to her and asked if she was okay. She didn't respond. She just kept staring straight ahead with a blank look on her face. Suddenly her eyes turned black and she let out a blood-curdling scream. I slammed on the brakes and turned to her just in time to see her transform into a horrifying monster. Her skin turned green and scaly. Her eyes turned red and she had sharp teeth. Then she lunged at me and I screamed as I felt her claws raking down my face. I struggled to free myself from her grasp, but it was no use. She was too strong. Just then a police car sped past us and I yelled for help. The police officer looked over and saw the monster dragging me away. He pulled out his gun and fired several shots at her. She let out a deafening roar and disappeared into the forest. I don't remember what happened after that. I think I passed out. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. A doctor was standing over me looking concerned. He told me that I had been brought in unconscious and that I had several scratches on my face and arms. He said that I was lucky to be alive because the monster that attacked me was a rare and vicious creature known as a Hannya. What do you get when you mix a flower seller with a young girl? You get a creepypasta.